giving us time tonight. I'm Bruce Borcher, Superintendent of Oak Ridge Schools. As you can tell, we've got a few more people invited to tonight's meeting. So I want to welcome our special guest. Mayor Behan is here. Our school board, most of our school board is here now, I believe. Yeah, we've got everybody. We have Parker Hardy and Greta Holmby from the chamber, and of course we have our assistant superintendent, Dr. Marzak, and where's Tracy and Holly back there in our curriculum department, CTE, and just appreciate you letting us come tonight. Now, as you know, we've got our Discovery folks. We have Andy Schaefer, Dr. Cindy Moss, Justin, is I saying it right, Carco, and then Rob Warren from Discovery. And you're going to learn more about them as we get into the presentation. Now, I know a couple of our Discovery folks have kind of a hard stop at about 6:45. So I'm going to go through a brief presentation because I haven't had the opportunity to kind of tell you kind of what's been happening in Oak Ridge, what we've been doing, kind of the path that we've been heading down. And then I want to make a jump over to our Discovery Education folks because we have a proposal that we want to share with this group tonight and get your thoughts and hopefully support as we move forward because we think first and foremost is going to benefit our students, but I think it will also benefit our parents and our entire community. So I'm going to start. I'm going to go through quickly. You'll get a chance to have me come back again, and hopefully Discovery Ed's coming back again as well. But I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, but of course I'll stop for questions as well. As you know, since about April, I've been doing a lot of listening along with our new staff. And every time I put this up, I say some of that's solicited and some of that's unsolicited, as you all know. But you learn from any of those pieces of information, and that's what I've been doing a lot of, and it's been very easy to become a proud member of the Oak Ridge community. We love this place. There's so many opportunities for our kids and families, and I'm proud to be able to present some more of those this evening. I thought I'm not going to go through every one of these, but I just wanted to give the group an idea of, who our students are, and all of you, some of you have had students in there, some of you have been here for many, many years, but I think it's good to just review who our students are in Oak Ridge schools. And the one piece I'm really going to highlight this evening is the number of kids that are in free and reduced lunch or in poverty. We now have gone over that 50% mark of students that are coming to us that are coming in from homes of poverty. And that's a big change for us, and I'm going to show you a graph in a second and how that's changed over the years. We take all those students, that's what we do, and we're going to continue to do what we do to make those students excel. And as you see, I'll go back to the graph where it shows that incline some information on our special education students and our gifted students. I should have given you handouts on this. I'm going to put up a couple pieces of data for you, and I can email this to Lila and get it back out to the group. But we're just looking at Explore scores here. This lower number is the nation average. Explore, as you know, is the feeder to the ACT. It gives us a kind of a predictive score on how our students are going to do. And it's just kind of up and down across all those areas. And I think when you look at data now, you understand that maybe we haven't been as focused as we can be on Explore and made that a priority at our middle schools. So that's one of the things you're going to see here later on in the presentation. Our ACT data, you'll see some trends in there. You see this big jump here, not big really when you think about it. That's the first year we decided to test all of our students in ACT. And you can see we dropped in a composite of 1. But that's really not that bad when you consider testing all students. And then when you add in 50% students in poverty, I have to say our staff has done an amazing job to keep our educational achievement where it is. But we want to make sure that we keep this score high. This last year, we did go from 23.2 to 22.6. And I don't think anybody likes that. I know I don't as superintendent. And part of what we're going to be doing here is really taking a focus on how our students are doing on the ACT. Here is that change in student population. If you look at 2002, we were about 22%, and now we're at that over 50% marker. And many of you that have been in the community, you know, if we had, you know, 1992, we were probably out here at 5–7%, I'm guessing. So that is a major change for our community. And I'm sure if you've been in any classrooms in our district, you've probably seen that demographic out there. And those needs increase when we see those kids walking into our preschool program. When our board had a visit there one day, we saw a young student there that really couldn't even put words together, had not been exposed to books or reading or having a parent read to them. So those are some significant challenges that we face when you talk about poverty. And again, our staff's doing an amazing job to keep our ACT basically where it's been with that amount of challenge for our staff. I think that should be commended. So where are we going? You probably have been involved in some of our mission and vision, our commitments, and our strategic directions, or know what they are. But very quickly, I underlined a couple of things here. Success for every student. We're talking about every student, and ensure success for every student. I think we have a wonderful mission and vision statement for what we want to do with our kids here. Our commitments, all 4 of these are excellent. They're all research-based best practices for what we should be doing with our students. And then we get to our strategic directions, and you're going to see us really honing in on this last one here, getting all students ready for post-secondary education, college and career readiness. And of course, we want all these other things to happen. But I think we all know we can't rely just on setting the goal on high school graduation. That's not enough anymore, and we're focusing on making those kids successful beyond high school. So what you just saw there, the mission, vision, the commitments, the strategic directions, that's really our roadmap, which has to drive our work here in the Oak Ridge schools. And what we're really trying to do, we'll go into this next segment, is we have a lot of islands of excellence in our community, and we want to make sure that we're all kind of rowing in the same direction as a district. So we have very clearly defined goals, clear and transparent data on which to set those goals. And then I'm going to come back to this quite a bit, and you'll see it thread through all our presentations tonight. But having them be successful when they leave us is our goal. I believe that's why we're here, not just for that high school diploma, but to make sure they're successful when they leave us. Hopefully you've heard something about the Oak Ridge keys to success for college and career readiness. We've gone around to multiple groups. We've put some ads in papers. Dr. Marzek and Tracy have been instrumental in collecting this information and facilitating conversations to gather this data. But we want to start out at this 80,000, 90,000 foot level and say, what is it? What are the markers that we want to see our kids hit to make sure they're ready for college and career readiness? I'm sorry, I'll get this out to you, but this is our draft of some of the key markers we want to see our students hit. I'll let you look at some of those, but what we're starting off here, our first key is reading proficiency at grade level by the end of 3rd grade. That's one of those markers that we know research says is going to help make a student more successful. Dr. Marzek and Dr. Beckendorf, when we facilitated these conversations, we shared with people that many of the states throughout our country base their prison population or predictions on 3rd grade literacy because of how important it is for students to be able to read. And if they couldn't read in 3rd grade, they ran those studies and found out that they could project the number of prisons they would need and their prison population, which is really sad. But at the same point, we need to be watching that because we know that reading is going to help you get to math, all the other subjects as well. Number 4 here, I'll just point out quickly, I showed you those Explore results. We're going to make sure we're monitoring that and have college readiness and monitor that in our 8th grade when we implement that. Number 5, financial literacy. When we went to our community groups, we had a lot of people, it was very high on the list when we talked to parents and other groups of having some type of financial literacy planning for our kids. So that made the list. And then our last 2, ACT composite 27 or higher. And a lot of people go, really, 27, can we do that? Yes, we can. And there's been districts that have gone from 22 to 27 or higher. We can do it. And I want to add, my daughters are applying to UT, 27, it's a little higher than 27 now, which is the average ACT to get into University of Tennessee. So I think we have to set that goal high. Can we get there in 3 years? Maybe not, but we certainly need to put that goal out there. And then this last one, as we get back into that college and career readiness, we want to make sure, we want to continue the number of kids that are doing excellent work in our AP courses. But if that's not a path that student's on, we want to make sure there's some type of dual enrollment option that they're involved in. And if that's not the path, some type of industry certification that student has a pathway to a career or a pathway to a local community college or four-year institution. So those are our draft keys at this point. And you're going to notice they're significantly more demanding than what the state says and the bar the state sets. And that's purposeful. It truly is. There will be situations where students don't hit that key all at the same time, and that's okay. Our kids, you know that, our kids are all different and mature at different ages. And it's important to note, too, that missing the key doesn't mean that those doors close to college or having a successful career. What we're saying with those 7, if you can hit those 7, your chances of being successful in college or having a successful career truly go up. So when we talk about pathways and getting our students ready for that college and career, these are a couple of slides we picked up from Elite Conference just this last week. And we have some of these arrangements, and Holly's been doing some of this in the CTE area, but trying to develop these programs of study. This one is advanced manufacturing. We have health sciences here, trying to align with our community. What are the needs of the community? What work needs? What kind of kids do you need? What jobs need to be filled? We're going to talk a lot with Cindy Moss here, Dr. Cindy Moss, about the new tech and STEM jobs that are out there that our kids could have. But this is an example of, not all of our kids are going to be engineers. Some are, we know that. But maybe there's a community college degree that gets you to be a technician, and maybe you really like working with your hands, computers, and being a CNC operator is the path that you're on. So first of all, having those conversations with our community about the programs of study, and then developing those paths for our students so that they can be engaged and know that there's a future out there for them. This next slide, I like this, took this from the Cumberland region. They take it a step further then and actually talk about where they can get that degree, where they can go to have that path. And we shared this at the Chamber of Commerce retreat today, talking about the partnerships that we can have with our local businesses. Where can our kids go to get some of these experiences and get help from our local folks? So part of the whole piece that you're going to hear a little bit here from Discovery really ties into these pathways for our kids. Big believer in transparency and in data and using data to continuously improve and not to use it punitively, but to use it productively. So our next steps here, after our keys are solid, are to really develop some scorecards at the district level, building level, and department level. Many of you are familiar with balanced scorecards. You won't be able to read this, but this is an example of what I've used in the past. Over on this left side is your key performance indicators. So you'll see we used Explore, many of these measures here. And then we set our levels of performance that we felt we could hit in this former district. One I want to highlight in Explore here, we've doubled some numbers. This is the all students achieving all 4 benchmarks. We were starting out at 20%, which is above the state average, the nation average, above the Oak Ridge average right now. But we said that's not good enough for us. We coded ourselves as a level 1. So in 2 years, we doubled the number of students that were ready compared to or designated by Explore. I was sharing this slide with the Discovery team, and then Dr. Cindy Moss showed me the achievement they had at Charlotte-Mecklenburg, so I don't feel so good about this anymore. So she'll show you some of the achievement results they received at Charlotte-Mecklenburg, doing some of the great things that they did there. But this would be the next step for us, really determining what are those key factors that we can help our schools improve and help our students. All right, so that was quick, but I am going to move to Discovery Education's presentation at this point. But I want everybody to see what this truly is and you're going to hear me say, I kind of smile every time Discovery folks say it, but we have a proposal we want to share tonight that would truly make us one of the premier STEM districts, pre-K-12, in the entire country. We have some unbelievable folks with unbelievable talent, and Dr. Cindy Moss is going to talk about the STEM portion of it tonight. But we are very excited to share this with you and move from this setting, or maybe even this setting, and get down into here to really transforming learning for our kids for the 21st century. So with that, I know Discovery Ed, a couple of folks, like I mentioned, had to be out of here at 6:45. So we're going to transition quickly and then leave some questions at the end after that presentation. So I'll have Andy Schaefer come up to start us off after we get the technology. Yes, thank you. Yes. And Rob's going to help.
Rob's going to assist.
All right.
I've had the great thrill of working with Discovery and doing what I love for the last 15 years. And it's a real pleasure to be with you here tonight. And I just want to thank the leadership team here, along with the school board, as well as the Education Foundation, for hosting us and welcoming us in and talking about a proposal to make you the premier STEM district in the entire region. Not one of, but the. So anyway, over the next 30 minutes, and we have just a little bit of time with you today, we really want to make sure that you have 3 main takeaways. And one of those we want to make sure that you have is that you have a really good understanding of who Discovery Education is, where we come from, what we're all about. Also, we want to talk a little bit about what it means to be the premier STEM district in the country. And Dr. Cindy Moss is going to take us through that vision a little bit. And then the third part of that is for you to really have a good understanding of what the plan is, what it encompasses, and most importantly, how it impacts the students, how it impacts the teachers, how it impacts the administrators, and of course, how it impacts the entire community. And of course, we'll leave plenty of time for open discussion and questions as well, so we'll try to get through this quickly. But I'm sure there are folks out here today that know Discovery best from our many television networks, such as Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, and Science. And as the #1 nonfiction company in the world, our reach is vast, including we have more than 100 television networks across the globe. We have more than 2 billion cumulative subscribers, over 200 different countries and territories that we operate in. We produce content in 44 different languages. And so whether you're talking about as a company and being the first in HD, the first in digital, or the first to offer a 3D network, that spirit of innovation you see at Discovery Education, right up to every single year, we have our John Hendricks Innovation Awards, which we name after our founder, and celebrating the innovative spirit and the great ideas that come from our employees at Discovery. Now, at Discovery Education, that innovative spirit is seen as well. And we got our start as a part of the education division for Discovery Communications around the same time the company was launched. But it was in the late 90s that we set out to change the way that people looked at how video was used in the classroom. And thus was born the curriculum clip concept, and providing teachers and students with just-in-time information, short bursts of information that would augment their existing lessons. This is an actual slide from a presentation about 15 years ago that I thought I would share, going into the time machine and how our services used to look. And I know some people probably recognize that. But in that first year that we launched Discovery Education Streaming back in 2001, we delivered 55,000 different digital learning options to schools across North America. We were absolutely thrilled. And what a change that had meant for education, having teachers access content differently. No more of the putting the VHS cassette in and stepping away for an hour. Now, fast forward to today, and those same 55,000 digital learning objects that we delivered in the entire first year, we now deliver every 2 to 3 hours of every single school day. So yes, digital learning has really caught on. We now service more than 50% of the schools actually across North America. We work with 1 million educators and over 35 million students every single year. And yes, delivering over 2.5 million digital learning objects every single week. Now, the kind of content that we deliver has changed dramatically. So yes, there is still video. Engaging video to excite students, inspire curiosity, focus is really on engaging all different types of learners. And yes, of course, there are visual learners, but there are also those types of learners that might learn best as an auditory learner. Maybe they learn history best that way, or some other
Mr.
subject.
Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And of course, there are also the types of learners that we need to recognize, that those that read and write and learn best that way. And in some instances, perhaps having that text read aloud to them.
Getting to know chemical reactions. Chemists work in a laboratory setting studying chemical reactions. This is a real...
And of course, there are also those students, the kinesthetic learners, that have to dive in and get dirty, and hands-on learning and experiment, and changing variables, and seeing how that impacts, and learn best that way. And for others, like me, it's really a combination of all of them. Now, just as the type of different content has evolved over time, it's been an initiative for Discovery to change the type of services that we're offering schools. So just as a year, for the last at least 10, 12 years that folks have used our Discovery Education streaming service, we have changed from more of a supplemental provider to a core instructional provider. Back in 2009, Discovery became the first organization to enter an all-digital solution into a traditional textbook adoption process. That was back in 2009. And since that time, we've developed K-12 different science tech books. We've developed tech books for social studies. We have tech books for math along the way. But more important, and as we continue to develop tech books, which are all digital solutions that change all the time, harnessing the power of digital. We also look at every other subject and try to demystify the use of digital content for teachers. Hand-selecting content, aligning it to specific outcomes that are important to your state and national standards, including the core curriculum, or the Common Core standards. Now, our focus, in addition to becoming a core service provider for schools, has also been to develop partnerships. And I mentioned before that we service over 50% of the schools in the country. But what we're really after is working with communities to develop partnerships that are unique and focused on 3 core areas, 3 pillars. One, I've already mentioned content, but it's so important that that content is high quality, it's well vetted, it's available 24/7, it's correlated to standards that are important to you. Another huge part of another pillar is the pedagogy, and making sure that the teachers are set up for success with the strategies that make sense for today's digital learning. In addition to that, technology, and not just for the sake of technology and how it's neat and it's cool and you have that factor, but just so that things work. And that means when you want to access content, it has to be available anywhere and it has to work on any device, anytime, for any student or any parent. And of course, those are the 3 pillars, but it's all built around community. And that's really where you come in, because each community has unique needs. We've identified here, that's STEM education. Now, when we look at across the country, the different types of innovative partnerships that we have struck up with districts, and I have a few up here on the board, they all started with a community and a specific need. For example, in CMS, where Dr. Moss has come from, with a look, they wanted to improve science scores, and they also wanted to improve teacher effectiveness. Or digital conversions, such as Baldwin County, Alabama, or Mooresville, home of Superintendent of the Year, Mark Edwards, graduated from the University of Tennessee. Rapides Parish, where their focus was on the conversion to the Common Core standards and data-driven decision. Places like Rock Hill, where their IROC community support initiative is building up community support around the movement to digital. Or Collier County Schools, where they're replacing their textbooks with all digital content. Now, we're particularly excited about here because when you combine like-minded organizations, which is exactly what is important to do when you have a partnership opportunity, we have an organization, Discovery, who is deeply committed to STEM education. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But we also look at this community in Oak Ridge Schools that matches us with that commitment to STEM education right now. And we're very, very excited about that, having this partnership, working together. And we're going to be talking for the next 20 minutes or so about what we've come up with together with the senior team as a plan to become that premier STEM district in the country. Now, before I turn it over to Dr. Cindy Moss, we call her the STEM boss. And from Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools, she's also named as one of the top 100 most influential women in STEM by U.S. News and World Report, and STEM Connector. Before I introduce Cindy, I'm going to play a short video that talks a little bit about our commitment to STEM education.
Founded on igniting curiosity across generations, and with science, technology, and math in our company DNA, Discovery Communications is launching a new national multimedia initiative to make STEM education a critical part of our kids' daily lives and to help inspire the next great discovery. Introducing Connect the Dots.
I am the next generation innovator, problem solver, game changer. I will take on the planet's challenges so the future is bright for everyone.
With Discovery Education fueling STEM engagement in classrooms around the world, engaging science and Discovery Channel programs, and online resources that make science come alive.
This is science in action.
And free tools that ignite exploration in after-school clubs and summer programs with Discovery Education STEM Camp. Discovery is empowering young thinkers and doers to change our world.
I will do this by embracing STEM. STEM is helping me connect the dots between what I learn and how I live.
From where our country is today to where we need to be tomorrow. Discovery Communications presents Connect the Dots.
We're so excited to be here and talk to you tonight about STEM. They do call me Cindy Moss, STEM boss. When I would walk in the room, my superintendent would say, "Oh no, it's Cindy Moss. He thinks it should be all STEM all the time." And he's the one who started calling me Cindy Moss, STEM boss. But I do, and I think that you guys understand that here in Oak Ridge, because when a kid has STEM skills, they can get a good job that has benefits in the future. And you want that for all kids, not just the top kids who have, traditionally from Oak Ridge, your kids are known across the country as winning these national awards, doing amazing things, but some of the kids have kind of been left behind. Your senior staff here now have the vision to make sure that all of our kids can enter the STEM pipeline. At Discovery, we want to use the tools that we have to show kids how many exciting things you can do when you're involved in STEM. There's a lot of times people talk about girls not going to the STEM pipeline, underrepresented people. I think it's because they don't understand. Girls are typically, we females, we want to make the world a better place. We just need to show them how STEM does that. At Discovery, we have all kinds of free resources that we're going to make available to your educators here. Camps for summer and after school. Lumosity, has anybody here done Lumosity online? That way you do brain training based on research. That's available free to the teachers and their kids. Amazing opportunities and resources so that kids as young as kindergarten and pre-K start seeing the great careers they can have if they're willing to do math and science. And so you're probably thinking, well, what does that look like? We want to show you a little video of what happened in a STEM camp. We created this last May. It's been in my head for a long time. I taught biology and chemistry for 20 years, and my husband and I ran a McDonald's, so I was a teacher with a foot in the business world, and my students would come through the drive-thru to see Mrs. McMoss serving fries. So I always had this idea that education was about workforce development, and that if we could teach kids to solve problems, it didn't matter if they were making French fries or being the cashier, they would be better at what they did. And so last year we got the opportunity to produce these STEM camps. And the STEM camps are geared around the 15 grand engineering challenges. Probably you guys know what they are. But I know from my 20 years with kids that they have great faith meters. And so we want to give them real problems. And so one of the weeks is on water, one's on energy, and one's on urban infrastructure. And we hope this year to develop camps around food, cybersecurity, and reverse engineering the brain. But let me show you what it looks like with real kids.
Discovery Education STEM Camp came about because there was a need, not just for their students, but for their teachers as well. So STEM Camp truly is this immersive summer and after school experience to get students excited about science, technology, engineering, and math, and not just one of the four, but this really kind of integrated approach to having them explore and learn like folks who have STEM careers do these days.
I always tell them that science and math basically make up this world and that they really need to learn about.
The real-life connections that they can make are really simple. Keeps their little minds wondering and engaged. I love how the math and the science really go together with the technology. It's a lot of hands-on stuff, and STEM kind of brings it all together in a really fun way.
Our students have to be prepared for the future. They are our future, and I think it's important that we use avenues like STEM to help create these problem solvers in our future workforce.
Discovery Education is offering STEM Camp because we know that kids across our country need the opportunity to develop those STEM skills. And so STEM camps give the teachers the opportunity to learn those best practices and see the power of STEM. It also gives the kids the opportunity to spend the time to really tackle problems.
The three curricula: water, urban infrastructure, and energy.
For water camp, they did a few projects. One of them was to build a boat that could hold the most weight, go the furthest, and in the straightest line. They also built a water turbine, which had to power a light bulb. In urban infrastructure, they designed a school, which was as green as possible, and could also account for any disaster type things that could occur in the area their school was.
STEM Camp is just full of interaction, whether it's with a small group, whether it's interacting outside in just a fun recess activity. They're actually getting in there and asking questions, solving problems, just using those critical thinking skills that we want them to build.
Thank you very much. We have had the good fortune, as Annie had mentioned, to really work with a lot of the innovative partnerships that we shared earlier. We are extremely excited about the opportunity to work with your senior leadership team here today and to present to you really our plan for having Oak Ridge become that premier pre-K STEM district in the nation. And so Andy mentioned earlier kind of those foundational aspects and the three pillars to successful partnerships. And that's what we wanted to share here this evening. And starting first and foremost, as we shared, some of the engaging content from the various aspects that the majority of the teachers here in the community have had access to for many years, but really elevating and strategically aligning those digital assets and instructional resources and the most effective way to utilize those in the classroom. So not only our digital streaming services, but also our digital core instructional resources and our textbook replacements in the area of science and social studies. So here are just a few screenshots for those. Andy showed the precursor to United Streaming. Come a long way, even from a visual standpoint, of what the environment looks like, and also what our digital textbooks looks like, in bringing that multimodal environment to your students, no matter what device, any device, anywhere. So this is a quick overview of what our science textbook looks like, along with our social studies content. I'm going to turn things over to Justin really quick to kind of show what that looks like and the varying multimodal resources that we have embedded in the resources themselves.
Hello, everybody. One of the things that we want to really emphasize here is not just about the content. It's how the teacher delivers the content at the point of instruction in a meaningful way. For example, I could very easily go to YouTube, pull up a video, and press play. And that is you consuming what I'm dispensing. What we're doing here is we're putting the content in a framework that allows your students to build to understanding. They own the process, and the teacher facilitates that process, focusing in on very specific objectives. And literally phrasing everything in the form of a focused question, a project, a problem that your students will have to solve. Formulate an approach to ultimately get to conclusion, collect data, and determine, did I do the right thing? And then reestablish the process, and go through that process over and over. But we also do it in a way that is intuitive for students. We take the content and we place it in an environment where students can actually collaborate online. They can actually annotate online. We can actually go in and take notes right on top of the text. We can go in and build key academic vocabulary in the form of animations and explorations that allow us to really see things the way they need to be seen. But then, once they have that down, then we need to touch it. Then we need to manipulate it. Then we need to take chances. We need to be able to manipulate the variables and then test our questions out. And ultimately be able to gather the information we need to defend our answer, to defend our approach. So all of this comes together in a rich learning environment that doesn't just give you one piece of information, but multiple pieces of information that allow you to ultimately build your understanding of what we're talking about. And this is the type of classroom we're hoping to create through multiple, not just in the area of science and social studies, but K-12 and all subject areas. And one of the other pieces that digital enables is the ability for us to be very relevant to all students. The ability to make text bigger, smaller. The ability to not only present you the same information. Imagine if when you open your textbook and you were an advanced reader, we could actually make the text more complex for you. Imagine if you were a struggling reader, we can actually bring the text complexity down for you. Imagine if we have something relevant happen in our world, we can actually insert that into the learning process. So it's a very rich environment, but also we can make connections to culture, today, yesterday, and tomorrow, and be able to solve these critical problems beyond the science classroom, the social studies classroom, but be able to merge all of our subject areas and rich investigations that allow us to manipulate, once again, subjects outside of the science subject area.
So we were sharing earlier, just really identifying and working with these students, these students that are struggling with reading. So bringing the text to life, having the ability to toggle that text to English to Spanish, and the multimodal assets that are in there. And Cindy shared kind of the whip around what that classroom looks like. We are a tremendous advocate of any device anywhere. It doesn't matter. And the good news is now the investment that has already been made in the community in technology can be brought back to life in that classroom environment that we share. So all of our content is device agnostic. And the last and probably the most important aspect is the pedagogy, really elevating the educators here in the community to utilize these varying resources and manage that new classroom to the best way possible, and then further connecting them with other educators throughout the nation, in the region, and beyond. So what we have as far as our outline and our partnership is really a very intentional and thorough partnership plan that really spans a number of years. And if we're looking at where we are now, where we're heading, and where we're going above and beyond just this year, we're really looking for a multi-year partnership, year over year and annually, as we move from not only where we are today, but into 2015 and 16 and beyond. So we wanted to kind of share a high-level overview of what that partnership looks like, and then take a little bit further step down and a little bit more granular of the varying support aspects that we have in the varying phases. So in phase one, we're going to transition over to Justin and the varying resources that we have and support mechanisms to get there.
So we're literally going to transform the classroom, but not taking something that's broken and making it functional. We're taking something that's working really well and enhancing great practice. And what we're doing is we're going to provide a cloud of support around all the aspects of your educational community, beginning with the teachers themselves. And the teachers, we were discussing with the team all the different things that they're embracing, all the different standards through the Common Core, the approach to teaching and learning in the form of RTI, response intervention, and all the great work that's currently happening. But what we are going to do is actually bring all these pieces together and bring in a project-based learning approach where we turn the ownership of the learning process over to the student and have the teacher play the role of facilitator. And we're going to provide the teachers with an opportunity to come together and collaborate and build exemplar units and lessons that really reflect this type of teaching and learning, building to that 80 hours in the initial year and up to 168 over the course of 3 years. We're also going to equip your instructional leaders and your school administrators with the ability to be instructional leaders in this area. We're going to keep them one step ahead of the process. So if I, the principal, or I, the district administrator, can support the teachers, support the students as they're going through the process, be able to analyze data and basically make sure the implementation is as strong as it can be. Then we're going to provide very focused operational support in year one. We're building a foundation for all these critical pieces. This is going to be a little bit different. We're actually going to move the furniture in the classroom. We're actually going to bring the volume level up. I know it's going to make some people uncomfortable. That's what collaboration sounds like. We're going to get people used to nuances of collaboration that are going to be fantastic, and it's going to be a great look and feel. But then we're also going to directly engage with students in the form of STEM Camp. We're going to build capacity within your group, within your teachers, to facilitate this wonderful STEM this opportunity in the summertime to literally practice what we're doing during the school year in a very high, fun, and engaging capacity. So STEM Camp in the summertime. And once we've laid this foundation, it's time to start building on that foundation. So we have the tools, we have the pieces, we're beginning to move towards a project-based environment, but then it's time to start layering in the pieces that your teachers will need to be able to read, write, and think like a scientist, read, write, and think like a historian, not just in the science and the social studies classroom, but in all subject areas. One thing I failed to point out on the last slide that is also included in year one, we are going to be coming in and working directly with your teachers in a coaching capacity. Having your teachers identify discrete teaching behaviors that they want to refine, and providing our team of coaches to have them literally design a plan for how are we going to get there. And through a gradual release model, we're going to be side by side with your teachers in front of your students, working in your environment with your technology, getting to these wonderful understandings that are critical to build a STEM environment. And then in the final year, we're going to continue to refine. We're going to continue to identify based on the data that we're collecting all the way throughout. We have a formal evaluation process that we've established. We're going to continue to work with your teachers in their classroom. And that is ultimately how we plan to get your teachers to the rich environment we hope to bring with us in the form of a STEM classroom. This is ultimately one vision that we would like to share with you. You can see we're utilizing 4 different computers. This is not a one-to-one environment. We're using available classroom technology. We're literally moving the furniture around to make sure that all students are building to understand it. This is what we're talking about.
So we'd like to thank you all very much for your time this evening, and we hope we haven't overextended our welcome by any means, but we are extremely excited, and we want to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and really have Oak Ridge Schools become the premier pre-K STEM district.